Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Admiral Markets. My name is Chris, and we're going to take a look at the strategy webinar on Wednesdays, looking at the Forex market. First of all, I would like to quickly test if the sound is working. Yesterday, we had some unfortunate tech issues, so I hope that today is a bit better and that the winds will be in our back. Great, the sound is good. Perfect. So let's move on, and I will inform you of the following. The webinar here is intended for a global audience, but may not be suitable for everyone. So take a look at the link here, admiralmarketsglobal.com. Select your country of residence and contact the appropriate entity to find out more information about that. Also, in general, we have to warn you of the fact that trading Forex and financial markets is considered high risk. It may not be suitable for everyone. Please seek the advice of an independent financial advisor for more information on that. This webinar is not advice and is for informational and educational purposes only. And by continuing watching this webinar, you agree with this disclaimer and you are aware of the risks involved when trading. So take a look at Admiral Markets Supreme Edition and Admiral Markets spreads and other things, analytics, education, promotions. They got a lot of good stuff going on. So take a look at the website, okay? Very recommendable. And today we're going to take a look at strategy. So let me pull over the charts first of all. Thank you, Caitlin. It's not horrible, but still annoying indeed. But I think it's going to be a mild one, to be honest. Luckily, it's not going to be a very heavy one, but still, always bothers. Cold can always bother you for a few days at least. So. Alrighty, let me pull up the calendar in the meantime. As I do that, we can already start looking at the Eurodollar. And it's kind of a choppy day, wasn't it? That, to a certain degree, is not surprising considering the position where it was, kind of in the middle of that triangle we were talking about. And 1 second. Sorry about that, I had to sneeze. Yesterday we were, I think, looking at it about here. Did break a bit lower, kind of found support ultimately more in the lower range of perhaps the support point. Still made a decent rally eventually and then failed to break this top. And now it's kind of like probably making an ABC zigzag. If you look at my wave analysis today, that's how I have it. So from that point of view, if we put a fib from here to here, then, gotta put it to the bottom, that maybe the target, one of these two targets could be again a balancing spot. So there could be some space left to the downside, but considering that the -272 target is only about 16 pips away, it's not a lot of space. It would have to be certainly a kind of a scalping trade, maybe on a 1 minute chart or something like that, but there's not a lot of space there. 1 second, folks. All right, I'm back. I'm going to have more of these breaks, I think, today, but because of my cold. But so I think it's more of a potential bounce area. Ultimately, from a wave perspective, I don't want to make it a wave webinar necessarily, but still looks rather corrective. There is the potential, perhaps, to use this bottom here as a support for one more correction rally, maybe up to this orange trend line to really get a full touch there, or perhaps maybe even further, maybe up to not only the 23.6 fib, which we recently just hit, but maybe even up to the 38.2 fib, or the 50 maybe. And we can use this fib maybe for one more downside. Now, ultimately, if it breaks this bottom, then we're going to break out, breaking the support, breaking this triangle to the downside, breaking this bottom, and there's some space down to 110 around level as well. So from my point of view, actually, I don't have my drawing tool open. 1 second. Okay, I'm doing that as we speak. So, this could still be a bit more of a bouncing spot. It's certainly counter trend, a bit risky therefore, but could find legs at that support and up to resistance. Then perhaps if we break above orange, up to one of these 2 or 3 fibs. And then at those fibs, I would expect downside again. Be a bit easier if I have my drawing tool. Let me open that right now. So ultimately, what trade is worth taking, really? I'm not sure if the bounce is worth taking. It's, as I said, it's a bit risky right here. But if it breaks below it, we got this space, and then if it breaks below that green, we got this space. If we do bounce, we got maybe some potential up to the resistance here, and then up to these fibs, and any of these fibs could be potential turning spots. So that's how I look at the Eurodollar. When I look at this chart, that's, these lines, these zones, that's what I visually see. So when looking at this potential bounce here, let's see. Probably a signal like this on a 1 hour chart here could be enough here too. Let's take a look how that was on a 50-minute chart. Using my time factor, actually the 6th candle was still bearish, 7th candle was bearish, and here we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7th candle was bullish. So if you look at time factor, then this would have been the entry on a potential rebound to the upside when considering the fact that this momentum is then over. So here we didn't have it, here we did at this candle. It was a pretty good entry spot there. That's something we could, I might look for as well later today on the euro for a bounce to the upside. So we could be in a bouncing spot. Around that 111.30. Doesn't have to be the 61.8 target. Alrighty, so now yesterday I took some reversal trades actually. So partly because I thought it could be interesting to talk about it today as well. And well, yesterday I took £2 USD shorts. Certainly was against the momentum, but one was in here and one was in here. Now, one of them was up, as you can see, but I closed actually for -2 pips, and one made about 15 pips, and could have actually did reach my target of plus 35 pips, but didn't have enough patience. So I thought we'd just talk quickly about that, about how those trades went. Let's see. Because yesterday I was talking about the pound dollar, making perhaps a potential zigzag. That didn't occur actually. What it did happen was I said that this could be a bouncing spot. Well, that turned out to be true, but it rallied a lot more than I thought. I thought it would make something like this. Well, it didn't have weakness here. It continued. And I sold it somewhere around, let's see. I'm getting these levels mixed up, but as far as I remember, somewhere in here, after it showed that it broke the top, had divergence, and showed these bearish candles, and ultimately it looked like it was going to continue here. So I was pretty pleased with that. With the continuation, I had a target somewhere in here, and around the 153.50, and eventually about here, I saw, okay, it's actually double bouncing. It's using those moving averages for another rally, and I exited at the market for about break even, -2 to be precise. And I think my stop loss could have held, but I didn't want to risk it because it was, well, it could have been tagged actually. Could have been very close to tagging. Probably would have ended up for a loss. So I was doubting actually between staying in because I thought that it looked like to me it was correct with the divergence, but then looking at I think it was the 50-minute chart, and the fact that we only had a single divergence, the fact that we're breaking above this fractal, using the 21 EMA band, I thought it would be better to get out of that reversal trade because there could be one more trend with the trend push, which indeed happens. But so luckily I kept my loss short here, or small. Then I retried this short, the reversal trade here, when it failed again, and ultimately had the same target actually, around the 50, which it did hit, but I got out at the 3/4 level, 75, when it kind of showed a bit of hesitation there. So didn't make many pips. But so yeah, just wanted to show that it's possible to take reversal trades. It's not easy at times to have that patience. Also to get out when there are signs of trend continuation again, and to find a spot where you get that reversal. So I think it's doable. It's just I think a bit more tricky sometimes. Ultimately, it didn't give me much, but the pound yen short reversal trades I was looking at yesterday, I made one trade and I did catch 35 pips. Here too, though, I made a mistake by not being patient enough. Like this pound dollar, I cut my winner short this time because I was aiming for plus 60 and I only got 35. So that I'll just take a look at that in a second. But so ultimately, you can see if you look at these moving averages, this was kind of the first push. So that's why I was so happy about this push, because I thought this is the second, like the 1, 2, 3 move. Ultimately, it was just kind of like a double bottom in a way, and we still got the uptrend continuation. Now here, we did break below the 21 EMA. That's what I'm looking for, and I was targeting the long term, and it did get there. I just didn't have enough patience. So I'll take a look at the pound yen in a second. Now, what are we looking at? Well, 1 second, folks. All right, I'm back. You can see also that sometimes these price action signals, when there's a strong momentum, this wick here, yeah, this needs breaking. There's a strong momentum, these wicks are not always right away turning spots. I mean, one of the reasons why I wanted to hang in the first short was because of this wick, but I also know that the momentum could sometimes push a lot further than we expect. And indeed, it was a kind of a slow, choppy continuation, but it still pushed up. So these wicks didn't really matter on the 1 hour chart. So we pushed a lot further than through the long-term moving average, right? And from that point of view, this looks like a pretty strong momentum too, in my opinion, right? I think probably in everyone's opinion. And now we're getting a sideways correction. So yeah, from that point of view, I think the pound USD is interesting. We got moving average now aligned to the upside. That's how fast it can go with such a momentum. And I think we should have one more push up. I mean, from a wave perspective, I would expect it. But if we set aside waves and just look at momentum, it's bullish. Now it's sideways correction. Moving averages are aligned. So I think we have a decent chance of that continuation today. Maybe after it hooks back to the long-term moving averages here. Of course, this is the first switch in a way, right, from down to up potentially. So it's always a bit confusing or a bit messy. But if we put a fib on this swing high, swing low, then a 38.2 fib, we already stopped at 23.6, as you can see. And around 153.20, I'd say 25, it's a quarter level. And the moving averages there could be an interesting zone. So a bit of a pullback, and then a bounce could be good. Now, if it doesn't bounce at the 50, it breaks below the 50, then it's not as bullish as I expected, obviously, because then it's, the 50 is the ultimate max I would expect. More likely the 38.2. If it breaks below the 15, then it's not as, it's a totally different kind of environment than I expected. If it doesn't get even that low, possible too, right? Let's talk about multiple scenarios, then probably have to break above this top. And we can maybe see a rally up to close to 155. Some bullish breakout territory there for today. So that's I think that's what I'll be looking for today. Now it seems like, I don't know, now it can, in the middle, right? As I call it, the middle of nowhere maybe at the moment. Well, it could still be a bouncing spot, but I don't know if it's, because it's at the 21 EMA, and it could turn out to be a triangle from that point of view. I'm not sure if I'm interested at this point. Let me see the calendar. Got some pound news. Could be better to wait for that. The pound news, we got an interest rate decision on the CAD. The pound news, from that point of view, could let it spike down. I've seen it so many times, right, where the news event gives it a thrust down, news event is over, and then slowly but surely you see this rally again at support. So I'll probably wait for that. But to me, without the news event in mind for the moment, a breakout here to the upside or a bounce here seemed the most interesting, I would say. This is 5th 4-hour candle, so we're still in that upside momentum. So as long as it breaks within the next probably 6-7 hours, probably the London session, the London trading time, then the break should be just a good continuation. In fact, if we do break up, what do we see here actually? Surprise, surprise. We see at the -272 target, the long-term moving average of the 4-hour chart, which basically would mean that we closed the gap here between the 21 and the 144. That's something we did talk about as well. It took a bit long though, right? It pushed a lot further maybe than I expected, but eventually would get back to that long term. And if it does make the dip first, you can see then what it would be doing, bouncing up to 21 EMA to get up to the 144. Interesting confluence when looking at the 4-hour chart. So that's my view on the pound. If you want to add something to that, by all means, please do. And that's looking at the daily chart, by the way, we can see that 2 strong bullish days in a row. Yesterday, bigger candle even, closed near the high. So I would, looking from that point of view, it might not even get that deep, right? It might not even get to the 38.2 fib. We just put a fib on that daily candle. 38 and 50 could be already that, that could be it already. And if you put a fib on the entire upside, 153.18. If I put a fib on the daily candle, that's a 61.8 of the daily candle. So yeah, not more than that, I would say. Otherwise, looking at the daily candle, not. And one more thing about this moving average, as you can see, what we're saying when looking at the pound daily, it's in a range, right? It's moving averages are flat here. Moving averages sideways or intertwined. Prices all beaten up in between them. So what we were saying, when it tries to escape the first time, what's it going to do? Back to those long term, right? Because it's in a range. So the first attempt is going to be sucked back in. It's like gravity. Moving averages are going to act as a gravity pull. And that's what's happening right now. We're seeing it live in front of us, acting as a gravity pull. Doesn't mean, though, that in the future that this cannot be resistant. And if it does turn, then indeed we're going to get in a trending mode, because then the 21 is going to be pulled away from the 144, and it will probably be in that downtrend mode. That's certainly possible. But for the moment, the first break there's a high chance of a snapback, which is occurring now. All right, let's take a look at the euro yen pound yen. We talked about that yesterday. And the euro yen, I said at this point it will probably retrace, remember, for a movement to retrace this strong candle and then back up. So this turned out to be pretty accurate, I would say. Pound dollar was not. Kept pushing, but I think this was good, from my point of view at least. And yeah, it did make the retracement and followed through up. Now, when you look at the downside potential here, that's why reversal trading is a bit more difficult, because you can see it's not bad, but the potential is a lot, from a target point of view, a lot less than trying to catch this, right? It's twice as much. So sometimes that's just the difference here. Now I would have loved the 78.6 fib, but was the deep fib. It went to the 61.8. But let's take a look at how time factor could have helped. For instance, here you can see the weakness here, or even here on the hourly, for instance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candle, 6 candle bullish. That could have been the entry. Or on a 15-minute chart, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candle. That could have been the entry. We had to survive this pullback, but so, or of course the 61.8 itself as well, possible too. Those could have been entries for long with the target -272, and it was a good trade to the upside. And I was talking about the retracement of this candle from upside, so that did happen. Now let's talk about the reversal. I was thinking about the EJ, but I eventually took it on the GJ, which we'll talk about in a second. And here I was saying, it looked like actually continuation. It actually failed, didn't it? Double top. And let's see. In this case, 5 candles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candle here. An entry here with a target at the 50 fib or 61.8 fib gives about 25, 35 pips. Not a lot. So the potential is a bit limited there, but still would have been a winning trade. I took the GJ actually. Let's see, 3, 4, 5 candles somewhere around here. Sorry, 1 second, folks. All right, somewhere around here. And it went my way. I managed to survive this pullback. I was patient with that, funny enough. But then I got out about 35 pips profit. So let's see. Oh, right at this bottom, actually. Right at this bottom. It was kind of lit. I mean, on the lower time frame, you can see that sometimes, not that good. Monitoring on the lower time frame there, 5-minute chart, saw a bounce, and decided to exit there because of the fact that it was at the 21 EMA and at the bottom. So I took it there. I wanted to get some pips, but ultimately did actually get to the 184, which was my target. It went lower than that, 183.86. And then continued again. Anyhow, that was yesterday. Seems like we're filling up the gap here as well between the 21 and 144 on the GJ. And probably would prefer a pullback too. Back to this bottom, maybe back to this long-term moving average, roughly around here perhaps. Let's put a fib on this swing high, swing low. Bounce off the 38.2 fib here. Close to the target, close to the -2 target, Wouldn't want to go long right now, but if it hits the target and retraces, then let's see, probably will not retrace deeper than this zone. I would probably think about these fibs. It seems to be a decent bouncing spot. Now, of course, we have pound news yet again, so we'll have to see how that handles itself. But yeah, we're in a good breakout. Obviously, good 4-hour candle here, bullish candles, and I would say there is potential to fill that gap, or at least to the minus 61.8 target. All right, so that looks like a continuation to the upside. Let's take a look at perhaps some other pairs. Let's see. Dollar yen. Talked about that one too. 1 second, folks. All right, I'm back. Let's see. Dollar yen at the breakout continuation, right? We stalled, had a good 4-hour candle. And if you put a fib on that candle, which is something like this, should be something like that, we retraced to the 38.2 fib. And we're on our way. So anyone who took that trade, anyone take any trades yesterday by any chance? There was a lot of potential there, I think. Also, the Euro CAD is working well. Look at that too. Chelsea, yeah, the 5 to 6 candle is indeed something we've talked about in previous webinars, but not today indeed. It's good you ask. I have 2 webinars where I go into details about that. Let me fetch them for you. 1 second. So this continuation on the dollar yen, working nicely, right? Now at the minus 272 target. So here too, I would rather personally have a pullback. EuroCAD. Okay, sounds good, Beverly. Did those work out good for you? Hope so. EuroCAD, you can see, talked about these engulfing twins. Got it, and nice. Good job, Beverly. And now the trade is moving okay. We got about, well, it was a big risk, 90 maybe, but it was up 130 here. I would probably just show stop this 4-hour candle. Maybe a bit tight, but at least lock in some profit there and no risk on the table. So that trade is working well. That's what I would do personally. Euro pound got some policy to the downside after those engulfing twins. Kind of looks corrective, not that interesting at the moment. Dollar CAD, choppy at the moment. Hit the 1,000 target. It's just going sideways, engulfing bearish yesterday, but ultimately it's just hanging above the support level, not breaking above this resistance. Even if it breaks below the support in 21 EMA, I still think we're going to bounce probably on 130 here. I don't know, it doesn't look that interesting. We had a CAD interest rate day too. So from that point of view, the Euro CAD too, something to be cautious of as well. And wouldn't be trading the dollar CAD. But it looks like, well, obviously a trend and now in a triangle positive. So if it breaks above resistance, breakout. If it does break support, I still think there's potential for a bounce somewhere around here. If it breaks below that, then we might be retracing to the long-term moving average. 4-hour Aussie, massive upside yesterday, and did break above resistance at 70. I was thinking about shorting the Aussie if it would show signs of rejection at 70, the round level. Eventually, I lost track of it because it took so long before it went up there that, and I was already in already took trades on pound and pound yen that I didn't take it anymore. Luckily for me, because it continued higher, it didn't use that zone. I pushed higher and higher, so this analysis didn't work out. Didn't stop at 70, but luckily for me, I didn't trade it, so nothing lost there, for myself at least. And now it's showing a very hefty upside. Strong bullish momentum. I'm cautious on this Aussie. I mean, obviously it's a huge downtrend on the daily, weekly, and monthly, but I would like to see either a triangle and then break, fine, or there's a chance it could even make a three-legged kind of correction. So shorting makes sense, but from higher after the three wave or after the triangle break. Do longs make sense? Maybe if it goes back to the 61.8 fib here. Fourth, a three-wave rally, perhaps. Could be inverse head and shoulders there. Potential, I don't know. It's certainly a strong downtrend, but also a strong bullish momentum. So they don't really align. So let's see. At the moment, actually, there's a 4-hour candle showing a wick. So it could be more of a turnaround spot. Despite the upside, right? There is a chance that this uptrend could be, this bullish momentum could be over. We got 3, 4. This is the 5th hourly candle. So next hour is going to be important for that. If it doesn't break the top, this for next hour, then we might see that correction to the downside. Target probably the 61.8 fib or the 50. Not much space because there could be a bouncing spot again. And we might be breaking below this trend line, which we're actually trying to do right now. But this hourly candle, of course, just started 17 minutes ago. So that's the Aussie, kind of a funky situation at the moment, maybe. Pound New Zealand went to the 50 fib, but ultimately broke below it and went to the 61.8. Could be a bouncing spot too again. This is again the 5th candle, same like the Aussie. Let's take a look at the DAX. Derek is wondering about that, so let's take a look. We're getting the break to the upside. Yesterday opened, went above the 21 EMA, then went sideways. Looks like it gapped open to the upside. Let's zoom into the 5, big gap. So is this going to run away and continue right up to the -272 target and the large moving average? Or is it still going to close that gap and find support probably at these tops for that follow through to the target? I don't know. I really am not I don't trade the DAX. I just have looked at it recently because I know that Beverly looks at it, and Derek, and maybe other people I forgot, but so I'm not sure what would be more typical in this case. I guess you never know 100% anyhow, but probably bullish environment. The question is maybe when, here or lower, I'd say. What do you think? Let's see what Derek and Beverly think. I mean, I'm not used to seeing gaps that often on Forex. So. Could even have the -61.8 target eventually. Beverly also thinks it looks more bullish, and but is cautious because of the gap in the. Yeah, it's kind of an awkward situation because of that. Obviously, yesterday's 4-hour candle was a strong push. And I would expect follow through, but yeah, when is the question? 1 second, folks. All right, so Derek is in the buy. Nice. It looks good. All right. So for those that came a bit later, maybe sorry if I'm a bit slower than usual. I have a cold, so I'm not sure. Maybe it seems very slow when I was presenting. I don't know. Sorry about that. Let's see. What else can we look at? Okay, Beverly's as well. With a target of 40 points. Cool. I hope it works out. It looks bullish to me. Just yeah. Question is kind of in a no neutral zone, maybe kind of awkward position. All right. What else can we look at? Talked about the yens. Obviously, I'm looking for retracement first. Pound 2 or breakout. We got pound news coming up. Aussie could be together with pound New Zealand. Maybe it could be some pounds trades. Aussie to the downside, pound New maybe to the upside. Right? If those time things work out. Let me actually. I still owe Chelsea there the link to the time stuff. Let me see. Time factor analysis. Anyone in the meantime have any currency pair that you would like to take a look at? Maybe you can inspire me. This is the ones that I found most interesting today. So I think I already went through those that I find most discussable, at least. I didn't look at the whole market. I didn't look at CAD yen, for instance. But so maybe you see something there. New Zealand yen, sure. Sounds good to me. I got the great. I found the links to the YouTube videos that we discussed, the time factor. I hope you can see them. It should be chat there somewhere, available for you. I'm not sure how you see it, but there are 2 webinars there. Do you see it, Chelsea? Great, cool. All right, New Zealand yen. Probably, let's see. Yeah, in bullish territory at this moment. Strong AO readings here, 4-hour chart, as well as strong momentum to the upside. But we are right at resistance as well. Alrighty. Well, I would say a break above this resistance is probably would be better before going long. Maybe then longs could be okay on the lower time frame on breakouts, 50-minute charts here. Otherwise, if it lingers here too long, perhaps it could retrace lower, back to the 76 level here, back to this zone maybe, and it could make a small kind of retracement first, before then finding again upside. I mean, overall looks bullish, but it doesn't have to continue right now. 1 second, folks. So if it does break within the next 2 hours, because this is the 5th candle, so then that's great. Still maybe look for continuation on lower time frame. If it doesn't, there could be maybe the potential for retracement back to this, which could be, I would say, still a decent bouncing spot. I'm not really jumping for joy, as you can see, at this moment. Would still be waiting and watching here. I'm probably more interested about the pound New Zealand and AUD moving back down or and up here. If it does show some bullish price action here the next 2 hours, doesn't break this bottom, I would probably put a fib on this upside, maybe wait for a pullback to the 50 fib, 38.250 area. Alrighty. Maybe we can zoom into some lower time frames. We looked at many pairs, so maybe we can choose one pair and look at it from different time frames instead. Let's take a look at the Aussie again, or what could be a good one? Maybe the dollar yen, maybe the yens. Ultimately, I would like to see a pullback on those, not maybe the pound yen, right? Before going along. So maybe if that pullback happens, is it worth trading a reversal trade? Is it worth trading to the downside before trading it up again, right? That could be something to, it's riskier, it's counter trend, but that could be a thought to consider. Now, obviously, it's very bullish price action. I'm not saying, and therefore I'm bullish, but I would like to have it pull back first before trading it. All right. So what kind of environment could make me want to perhaps take a reversal, even though I see it as bullish, before taking long? There's a lot of momentum here. With the euro yen, I'm not so sure. It looks very strong. What's happening with the euro odds? Bouncing, didn't even get to 111.30. So perhaps the dollar yen is a bit better. So what are we looking for? Well, let me put on the moving averages. Well, first of all, I don't want to. This is all higher highs. Like each candle, each time frame is higher highs. So the very first thing would definitely be the lack of a follow-through finally on a 5-minute chart. There is divergence here on the 5-minute chart, and so we'd have to see weakness here. We have to see price make a hook back, basically 5 to 6 candles, not breaking on a 5, and there could be that ABC potential there, like this on the dollar yen. Obviously, if candles look like this, at the moment it doesn't look like something soon will happen. But let's take a look at the dollar yen yesterday. There was a retracement too. Here, you can see pushing up, 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 up. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candle here, not breaking. So what I do then, when this happens, depends how deep it retraced. If it retraced very deeply, I would put a fib from here to here and wait for a pullback. I wouldn't take it on the candle. If the candle is somewhere around here instead, right, then I might take the market order if it's the 6th candle and it's bearish. In this case, the 6th candle has retraced back to the 21 EMA. I don't want to short it right in front of the 21 EMA. So put a fib on that very first correction. And this is not always going to work, just of course logically. Reverses are always a bit tricky, but this is how I approach it then. Put a fib on this when it's at the 21 EMA, and I wait for the pullback, and I wait for price to get down to these targets here. Either the fib targets or the long-term moving average. And eventually it did get there. So the dollar yen also was a trade that hit the -2 and the -61 target, just like the pound yen. So something like this now could also be valid for the dollar yen. But ultimately, I think the yen weakness here is pretty prevalent, so would expect follow through to the upside. I'm not sure how long I'm going to trade. Depends how I feel. Might call it close sooner today. Let's see. But I think that that you get my point. If you have any, do you have any questions on that? Regarding to maybe one more example. The pound yen was the same, right? Basically. Important though to have divergence as well, right? Because mind you that here you had 5 candles not breaking the top, but I don't think there was strong enough divergence. There was maybe a single one between these tops, maybe just slightly, but ultimately not so much. Dollar Swissy, let's see. I'm not looking at the Swissy that much, to be honest. It's a long time ago I looked at the Swissy. Looks like a triangle. Yeah, it looks like a triangle and closer to resistance. I don't know. It doesn't really look appealing to me. Looks like it's retracing. Could retrace back to the long-term moving average here. Trying to break through the 21 EMA. No, I don't see much here to really trade. But yeah, there's definitely a chance we'll get to parity. I mean, it's in the triangle. Let's see where parity is. We have to break out of the triangle though to get there. So that would have to be maybe when the dollar continues its uptrend, then probably the dollar Swiss will break to the upside. Well, folks, I guess to wrap it up then, I might make a summary now already. Let's see, Eurodollar could be in a bouncing spot still. As it's bouncing already, but preferably I would like to bounce it from 111.30. This trend line could be still bounce down or break up. Pound a bounce off 130, let's say 153.50 or 153.25, or breakout to the upside, depending on the news event. Dollar yen, euro yen, pound yen looked a bit overbought at the moment. Could see a bit of retracement, but ultimately trend continuation, I would expect. AUD could make that reversal, retracement back down, and then bounce back up again. Pound New Zealand looks like a bouncing spot up. something like this. And what else? We talked dollar CAD, not interesting. Yeah, EuroCAD actually just took out the short there, took out the trail, and I think that's it for the moment. Alrighty, thanks so much. Sorry if it's sorry for the shorter webinar there, but I have this cold, so I think maybe it would be a good moment to stop. Tonight, Nanette is going to take a look at, I forgot the topic actually, but he has an expert opinion on, that's the webinar topic tonight, 6 p.m. Central European time. Tomorrow we take a look at trade management, same time, 6 p.m. Central European time. And I think trade management is very important because how often or not do we focus on entries? How much work do we put in really finding good ways to manage the trade? Ultimately, the exit really determining what the trade is. So not as emphasized maybe as enough. So hope that you join today and tomorrow. Yeah, thank you so much. It's not that bad, but still annoying indeed. Thank you for all your good well messages, and see you soon. Good trading.